What's going on, everybody? I am Walter Hooper, and I am here at the Nott co-working space here in Grosse Pointe Park, Michigan. And yes, it's been a minute. It's been a few minutes since we have recorded an episode of the Nottcast, but we have been just hitting the pavement even harder than ever before. W.A. Hooper Marketing, who is a member here at the Nott, we have been working rigorously and effortlessly with podcast production work and for clients. So thank you to all of you who have chosen W.A. Hooper Marketing to entrust us with your podcast marketing needs. I truly appreciate you. But the reason why we're here today, the Nottcast, we're back at it again. We have seen some growth in membership here at the Nott co-working space, and I got to tell you, it's always wonderful to see new faces in here, get to know these individuals. You know, even though you work alongside them, you know, we're all kind of doing our own thing, right? You know, I'm running my business. You know, Savvy Advertising Solutions running their business. Goosen Real Estate, he's doing his realtor thing. Kevin, the owner of this wonderful facility who made this all possible, Kevin's been working even harder than ever to do some upgrades and what have you. And it's easy for us to kind of just get lost in our own world, right? But now, like I said, we have some new faces, and so therefore it's a reminder to, you know, get out there and introduce yourself and make these wonderful individuals feel welcome here. And this is no exception for today. This individual has been here at the Nott for what I believe has been a year, but I swear it's been longer than that. But they are a financial planner and a financial coach and an independent agent. I have here today with me for this installment of the Nottcast, fellow member Sharon Davis-Cawthorne. What is going on, Sharon? How are you?
Hey, Walter. It's so good to finally, with our busy schedules, be able to sit down and really talk about, you know, why I'm here at the Nott.
I know, right? So first and foremost, we were talking a little bit before we hit record here, but we're recording I hate to say it, in the last leg of summer. It's really a bummer.
I know. I love an enduring summer. That's what I want. Just, you know, how do you make it last? How do you make summer last?
So with that being said, what have you been up to for this summer season?
You know what, Walter? I have been the ultimate new gardener.
Okay.
Really,
okay. All right.
I love gardening. I love the flower side of gardening. And this year I got into growing some things, and that would include like some peppers, different types. And I actually worked with a local group, KGD, Keep Growing Detroit, and got a subscription with them. And so it kind of pushes me along to grow some things, and I really like the development. Some of the funner things was a watermelon and eggplant. So
ooh,
yeah.
Okay, all right. So you really honed in your plant mom skills.
Yeah, that's it. Oh, I love that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a thing, people. Plant parents.
Yes. So I'm a plant parent, and in that regard, I guess it is an extension because I really do have some indoor plants that have survived. And I was curious about trying some new things, but felt like partnering with a local group was going to do it for me, because it helps me when you don't kind of know where to start. You know, start with somebody who's doing it. Right on.
Well, I love it. Always manifesting and growing. I'm loving that energy and all that. So good for you.
Thank you.
So you've been doing the plant mom thing.
Yes.
Any other exciting happenings that have gone on with you this summer?
Well, sure. I think to couple with that, I like the creative space of seeing how other people garden. So I've gone to some local gardening shows. I sucked my husband into going with me on some of those. And one of the not so local ones is, because we're on the east side, is going to the west side and going to a koi it's a koi and garden show. So I really kind of expanded my my thoughts on what gardening is and what it looks like and the creativity that people bring to it. So that has been a high point, plus a little bit of the travel out of the state, but love being home.
Yeah. Where out of state have you been?
Gone down to Orlando and Atlanta. And some of those were work trips, family trips, but it's always nice. I'm a second generation Army veteran, so I don't mind getting on the road if it is to go somewhere on the road. I almost like it over flying, but I have been able to manage more flying this summer than I have road trips. So
yeah, and speaking of flying, I'm sure you heard about that shutdown that happened when
just missed it. I mean, if you gotta really celebrate traveling at the right time, to not have your flight delayed by something other than the airline, it's magical. So yeah, I was able to avoid that.
You just missed that. I actually missed it as well. I had the opportunity to go to Denver, Colorado for my it was through my Kiwanis club that I'm a part of, and it was they had a national convention in Denver.
Oh, wow.
So that was the first.
Beautiful
Yeah, that was the first time I traveled by plane, and I'm gonna say a decade. The last time I went flying, I went to California. I went to go visit a former bandmate, still a good friend of mine, a friend of his that lived in San Francisco.
Oh,
so,
wow.
So
Well, Denver, if you have to go, that's a good place. I had an aunt that lived there, and I flew in there a couple years ago and took the train from the plane to downtown. It was like It was just beautiful.
Nice.
So that was a good place to travel.
Awesome. Yeah. So glad we missed that glitch in the system.
Glad we missed it. We gotta be happy with when we travel. There's very few delays or hiccups. So yes.
Yeah, that's always a good thing. That's always nice. So we're here today because you are a member of the Nott co-working space. Here in Grosse Pointe Park, Michigan. So how did you find out about this place? Let's start there. How did you find out about the Nott?
Yes. Well, you know what? One of the things that's really beautiful about East Side Detroit and Detroit in general is that there's a lot of refurbishment of places that really had a lot of architecture to them. And this sits on a very busy corridor, the Mac business corridor that heads into the gateway of Morningside neighborhood. There's also East English and a few other Detroit area neighborhoods, but also this Grosse Pointe Park neighborhood. And it sits a little bit right past the gateway and into this area. And I could see somebody doing something over here.
Wonder who that could have been.
And I really just was interested, one, because the building was so beautiful of what it was going to be. And so that's why I just kind of kept an eye on it because, I think when somebody dedicates themselves to the architecture, for me, it makes me take notice. And I saw a lot of work going on the outside, and was curious what was going on the inside. And I kept my eye on it and noticed when the marquee went up, I said, okay, now I can look and see what's happening, and found out it was a co-working space, and got really excited about that. And when first became there's an opportunity to just be a member of just a neighborhood member, just somebody who's an interested party. And that's how I first came in, then found a need where I needed to stop in, and then it kind of developed from there.
Yeah, and you mentioned architect, you mentioned location, it really, so shout out to Kevin, who the owner of this amazing establishment. Kevin had this vision, right? He had this idea of wanting to create this high-tech, advanced co-working space. Because for those of you that are unaware, go check out the very first episode of this podcast, the Nottcast. Kevin was the very first guest, respectively, and he was saying how when he worked in corporate, he used to do a lot of traveling, and he would stop at various co-working spaces all throughout the U.S. So he kind of got this idea of, okay, I like this nucleus that they have of, okay, people that are, they want to be in an office environment, but they don't want to necessarily be dictated by somebody. They can choose their own path, but there's a space for them.
Right.
But also too, with today's technology and advancements, having some of the top of the top, quality technological gadgets and advancements here was key for him. So, for him, and for those of you that are not aware, Kevin literally wired all of the technology in this building.
Yes.
So the TVs, the Wi-Fi, the lighting systems, you see him in here and he'll be in sweat, but it's because he's working so diligently to make sure that this place is where it needs to be, and it's the top tier cream of the crop,
Yeah, I agree with that. In fact, I remember lamenting with Kevin because he was in a boot at one point.
And he still is.
And I was like, I had one of those, and he was in here really wiring up the place. This is one of the things that I like, is becoming, you could also use this as a hybrid space. So one of the things that I work with, of course, because of the pandemic, but really just because I have clients that are coast to coast, I've used Zoom, there's so many others. So I appreciate having this space where you can depend on bringing somebody on for a video conference. But let's say I wanted to do a mini workshop or something like that and bring in somebody else or have a group of people. One of the things that I like is having this hybrid effect, because I could bring in, say, a guest speaker that's living somewhere else, but somebody could see them on the TV as opposed to being on my computer. So it just makes it a closer space. And that's kind of what I see, and that's kind of where I see that correlation with gardening too, because there are some gardeners, no matter how big their space is or how little their garden is, they create these little rooms, and inside of those rooms it gives you a place to focus. And that's what I believe happens here. There's this area where there's rooms, and you can bring in a lot of that focus either to your client or focus to the areas that you believe would help your client. And so, it has helped coming here and seeing the space imagined for what someone else could use it for. And I appreciate that.
You hit it right on the money right there. Like, it is such a versatile space, like you said, and, it can be utilized in many different facets and capacities. And, for him to be able to have that vision and to really be able to hone that is truly been something remarkable to not only see, but just be a part of, So you've been here now, as I said in the beginning, I think you said it was a year, but I think it was longer.
I know,
so,
that's what I said.
So
I was like, it's just, it's the closeness that happens in a space like this. So, you feel like you've gotten to know someone longer, even if it has been a short time, because you get an opportunity to talk about yourself, you get an opportunity to talk about your business. So that's what I like about this. It is a incubator space for contacts and for businesses. So I really appreciate that. So it seems like I've known you for a while.
I know, right? So for you and in your profession, in your career, how has the Nott been able to amplify and boost you in your career and what you do, and be able to have you help your clients even more than ever before.
Right. Well, much like Kevin, I've traveled a lot of places, not just in the military, but since I've been married and I often tell people, watch who you marry. You know, you might marry your prom date. So, my husband and I have known each other for a very long time. And I've had the opportunity to raise my kids as we've traveled for his career. And that has put me in places where I've worked in other co-working spaces. And the same thing has happened. There's a chemistry that happens inside of a co-working space. And so I was seeking one out, and to find one that was in my neighborhood made a difference in, you know, what I'm going to be able to use it for, the availability that I have. And it also creates a space where I can meet people where they are. I love that this is nestled inside of a neighborhood, as opposed to some of the spaces that I had been in that were, you know, a few feet up in office buildings. And again, that's it actually attracted me then at the time, because I say my focus was coming more from a corporate world. But as I am a person of a different season in life, and as I have nurtured other relationships, I feel like this really fits not only where I am, but the people I want to serve.
You know, and yeah, absolutely. And you know, you talked about being nestled in a neighborhood or neighborhoods.
Yeah.
So for those, again, to reiterate what Sharon was talking about, and to expound upon what she was mentioning regarding, you know, being nestled in with, you know, Grosse Pointe, Detroit, where this is located. It's located on Mack Avenue, and it's technically Grosse Pointe Park, but if you go outside the main door, and you're looking at Detroit. You're looking at the city of Detroit. Now, it's not downtown Detroit, but it's still Detroit. And also, little side note for those that are also unaware, Detroit is a very big city. It is not. It's not just downtown. It's not just Corktown. Like Detroit spans, has a wide range and territory that it covers here on the east side. So yeah, you're literally looking at the Detroit across the street.
Agreed.
And I like that. I like being able to say that, you know, yeah, like you walk across like 20 feet and you're in Detroit, you know. And I think he did that. He did that intentionally, because you know, Grosse Pointe can be, you know, it has its niche, right? It's
right.
I call it the bubble, and Kevin laughs at that, you know. But it is its own thing, and you know, for him to, he's technically in Grosse Pointe Park, but he also likes being able to, as he said, have that edge of, you know, being in, you know, in the trenches as well of Detroit,
right?
You know, because it's the hybrid,
right? Well, you know what I feel too that happens is there's an exposure that happens no matter where you are, and there are people in all of these neighborhoods. Like I said, to come towards, say, from downtown, or if you hop off the I-94, you're on the freeway, you get off, you're going to be coming through a gateway. And on the Detroit side, it says just that. You know, this is a gateway, and I think about it in terms of that it's a gateway to the people and to the community. So there are all types of people that live in a community. From, like I said, there are places that are building up, but this is a neighborhood that's really changing demographically, economically, and to offer amenities that people can either walk to, drive to really quickly, I think are really important. So it may look like just because somebody says, hey, we're in Detroit, there may be image that people think of. We do have Motor City, and we're known for so many other things, but I think that the innovation and artistic and the creative side of Detroit really come out on this east side. We do have art, we have cafes, there are community organizations like the one that I'm a part of with Morningside. They really, really work with growing the community with information that not just on the borders of Detroit, like what's happening outside, but really concentrates on what's happening inside. And this Mack Avenue corridor, there's also a Cadieux business corridor, and there's a Warren corridor, and that's a business corridor. And so we are really nestled in this place that is, there is a rebirth that's happening. I like to, for the Morningside community, for instance, do interviews with people that are business owners along the various corridors, because those businesses and those amenities are really helpful to the community that live there. So you don't have to drive, like you said, downtown or to the suburbs to really get what you need in your neighborhood. And that's what I believe is making the East Side livable. And having the Nott here is a place where businesses can either begin, where they can thrive, where entrepreneurs can find a place to meet with their clients or even focus on what they need to. So I agree that this was imaginative on what could happen here with creators, entrepreneurs that come here.
Absolute. Gosh, Sharon, you were just like on it today. I love it. I love it. I love it. You mentioned the term rebirth, and that could not be more true. There has been a rebirth, a resurgence, a revision of the Detroit neighborhoods, even here in Grosse Pointe Park. Because not so long ago, the park was the lower tier end of the bubble community, and now it's built itself up to be. I mean, they have their own they have a social district now.
Yeah.
And that's for those that don't know what a social district is. It's
Right.
where it's a evening event that happens where you can take your families or your friends to, and you can go to various establishments within that boundary, and you can take beverages to go. Let's say so.
Right.
Must be 21 or older to participate in that portion of those events. Just saying.
Right.
But so to see that, to see even like we're out, because we're not that far from Alter.
Yes.
And Alter was always, oh well, if you cross the Alter, then oh boy, like good luck. And now it's like all the small businesses that are popping up on there, and it's like it's cleaned itself up, and I mean, like you said, a rebirth is happening, and where the Nott is located, like we are right in the heart of all of that, and that's so cool. Like I don't know, that was maybe subconsciously that was a reason maybe why I chose it too.
Yeah.
Well, big part of it is because it was so close to where I live. So, but just to see this like you said, this rebirth, this revision of the area. So, you've been here for a year. We'll say a little over a year, and you've gotten yourself comfortable here. You've gotten to know some of our members, even some of our newer members.
Yes.
Who we're definitely going to have on here in the not so distant future. Right. But so you've been here for a year and a half. Where would you like to see? How would you like to see the Nott grow? And what is your hope for the future of the Nott co-working space?
Excellent question, because I really believe everything starts with creativity. And when we have, just a myriad of people that are here, from the marketers that are here. I know that there's a family attorney here. There are other people who just pop by and come in. Excuse me, that women of a certain age also have dry eye, and thankfully there is air coming through here. So I believe that there's just collaboration that happens, and I believe from the education, what I really like to also call the empowerment that happens when people get together that come from various sectors, various industries. You just never know what that imagination and creativity will lend itself to. So this is a very comfortable space to sit and talk, get 15 minutes in, get coffee or water. I love coffee, by the way.
As do I.
And I do have just a little bit of hot water here. But, be able to just have those conversations that either happen organically or to be able to say, hey, here's my business link. Let's set up a few minutes. And we could go to one of the neighborhood cafes. As I talked about with Rebirth, that actually means that there were people who were already here. And so I think this is a place too where you can gather history, where you can use that to move forward. And as a transplant here, I've also found that it's a neighboring community, and where we bring that out with people, that you become not a member but really a neighbor. You come in here and in a cooperative space, not just this co-working space. So I think it takes a little bit of all of that, and the more people that are here, I would think it's more of a creative space. Like I said, I believe that entrepreneurs are creative people. They are saying, look, I'm going to take this from what it is and grow it to something because I see a need that I can fill. And I think when I imagine this space growing, it's meeting all of these needs, addressing different pain points of the community, addressing different areas where people personally want to grow. They want to see their families grow, really for a longer lasting benefit for themselves. And so I believe that's what happens here, and that's what I see. The technology is great here, and being able to come even when we've had some power outages. The natural elements that get to us. This has actually become a place that can be a beacon for other people to come and sit down at and use technology to their advantage to continue growing their business and reaching out to people. So that's what I see in the future, is that it's a gathering space for creatives that want to come and do business here.
Yeah, and you mentioned again your word choices here are just spot on. They're just on the money. Collaboration. Working to get co-working, like your collaborators. I've talked with a couple people here about wanting to put on some seminars for the future. Talking about not only what I do, but also talking about like the future of where the internet's going to go, Web3. Like I bring that up a lot, especially on with clients of mine and on my other program that I host. It being able to offer educational value for people to take away and be able to say, okay, yeah, I found that at the Nott. Like yes. they were one of the very few that were offering that to this community and varying communities.
Right. I agree. And one of the things that is helpful to me is knowing that, this is a place my business could grow. This is a place where I could do that outreach. I do offer webinars, offer seminars. It's a social place as well, so we could come in and you can feel comfortable. And I also think it provides a sense of place for that client that you are bringing in to say, all right, they are established here. This is a place where I know I can find them during their office hours or when we meet. It's also a safe place that we can come and provide the confidentiality that they need to meet in and the security that they need to meet in. So I agree with you that it's the collaborations continue, and when you think about it individually, this definitely does provide a place for a great meeting space.
Meeting space, collaboration, being able to host events like so this will air after it's happened, but currently in the background what's going on is one of our members, Savvy Advertising Solutions, they're literally setting up for a I believe it's a 25th anniversary party, and there's going to be a ribbon cutting ceremony. So that's so right here.
Just
it's
right
literally
here. It's
happening right now. It's happening.
It's happening.
So
yes.
Yeah, proof is in the pudding, people.
Yes.
So one of my last questions I have here for you before we log off here. When you are not being the provider for financial advising and coaching and being the independent agent that you are, what are some of Sharon's favorite hobbies and activities to do in her downtime?
Why are you asking such a wonderful question? If I haven't woven in how I like gardening.
Yep.
But also one of the other things that I agree with is that, we need to have a nice, we're a whole person. So gardening gets me out there to exercise. I love walking. I love swimming. I really do love working in this community. So that is why I'm a part of our Morningside community here and work with our neighborhood organization. And for some folks, it's like, that's not a hobby. Listen, it's a strong interest to me to see how our community will thrive. And I believe that makes for strong families and longevity. I love working with a member group for me are veterans, it's particularly women veterans, and this is an extension of that, to be able to say, look, we have encores, we have ways that we can grow and do that next chapter in our life, and working with people that are in all levels of transition. So that hobby for me is really, and I have to say that inside of here we have some great community groups like Brilliant Detroit, and being able to work with the children and telling them a really good story. I just love that part. I love being able to tell a good story where their imagination and their creativity can begin, because I really believe it starts right there, and with those littles, and how we let them know that this is a community that they can feel safe and know all the mamas and the babas that are around. And so I really like doing that.
All right. Well, that's excellent, and probably one of the most important questions.
Yes.
Well, they're all important, but one of the most, I'll say, top three that gets asked on this program and others. How can people contact you if they're looking for financial advising, coaching? If they're looking for an independent agent that they can trust,
Yes.
How can people reach out to Sharon Davis-Cawthorne?
Right, and I love that alphabet. I tell people I married that. Remember, watch who you marry. So I can be found on a lot of the socials, but LinkedIn is one way. That's where you find me. I know you'll have my name down there, and then that I'll have all my other contact information there. This is there's a lot to what you coach people on financially, and it can go from just putting together a budget to going all the way up to investments, or maybe making a purchase on a home. So there are a lot of areas where I meet people, and I believe if you look for me on LinkedIn, or I know you'll have the rest of my contacts down at the bottom, we just start with a discovery and see if I can help you, if I know a resource that can be a better fit for you.
Excellent. Well, Sharon, thank you so much for taking your time today to be here, to chat with me, catch up a little bit.
Yes.
Thank you
for having me.
we've been both of us have just been go, and
Yes.
which is a good thing. That is a good thing, but also that does get in the way of just being able to set aside a few minutes and getting to chat and catch up. Because as we know, the summer.
Gotta
It's just
tend to the
flying
garden,
by,
Walter.
unfortunately. So now but we were able to have a wonderful conversation.
Yes.
I always enjoy chatting with you and sitting down and
Absolutely.
catching up. So thank you again, Sharon. I appreciate you and your time today. And thank you to everyone that has tuned into this episode of the Nottcast. If you're still, if you made it here to the end, thank you very much. Congratulations, you did it.
You did it.
We truly appreciate you being here and checking out this episode. And please check out other episodes down below. We can be found here on YouTube. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to our channel and be sure to hit that notification bell where you can find out all of the latest updates on the fly like that and more about the Nottcast and the Nott in general. And you can also follow us on social media. We're on Facebook and Instagram, the Nott, N-O-T-T, not N-O-T. Let's be very clear about that. N-O-T-T. So you can find us on the socials. We have a website, the Nott, and just Google us. You'll find it. And yeah, this has been another installment, much long overdue installment of the Nottcast, and you can probably tell too. We've also updated our equipment here with our podcasting gear. So before, I believe we were using condenser microphones. Now we got these beautiful Shure SM7Bs that
Sounds so
we are.
clear.
That
is
just
amazing.
I'll tell you what. Just like Kevin with his technology, I do not mess around with my.
Do not mess around. This sounds great.
Thank you very much. And you can't see them, but we do have some upgraded cameras as well. So, but again, thank you everybody. Please, again, we appreciate you being here, and we will catch you on another episode of the Nottcast. Have a good one.
All right.